to the Sweet Report with your host, Dylan Sweet.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. All right. Tonight, I'd like to talk about gender stereotypes in film. Now, this is something that's been going on for quite a while, decades even. But it's something that oftentimes a lot of us take for granted or overlook. So what I'd like to talk about tonight is all the gender stereotypes, but first let's talk about the dudes. Now, when you think of the stereotypical male protagonist in a movie, you always think of, awesome stunts, an attractive hero, badass guns, bulging muscles, and an overabundance of testosterone. But when I think of a badass character, a dominant character, just a great character, there's only one man who comes to my mind.
Spartans! Ready your breakfast and eat hearty. For tonight, we dine in hell!
Yeah, Gerard Butler. I cross-checked my Wikipedia source, and apparently that is his real middle name. An attractive hero, in many people's opinions, especially women, would be, Channing Tatum. But why is he so attractive to the public eye? You get the point. But no one on this planet is as suave as the one and only James Bond. I mean, hands down. Gotta be the suavest guy around. But I have to say, the greatest Bond, in my opinion, has gotta be Pierce Brosnan. Why?
Oh, Money Penny. I'm just up here at Oxford, brushing up on a little Danish.
Guy's a genius. But, another good, stereotype that I would think is apparent would be someone who's driven, someone who's got a mission, he's got to get the job done. And I can't think of anyone better than Liam Neeson from the Taken movies. I know his character has a name, but who cares? It's Liam Neeson. But another huge stereotype in male gender roles in film has got to be a dominant character. And look no further than John McClane. That's not to be confused with John McCain. Swiggity swooty, he's getting that booty. And there's also another gender stereotype used in film, such as charisma, having a charismatic protagonist. That it's a male protagonist that just knows what he's doing and knows what he wants. And to me, there's a man who needs no introduction.
I guarantee you the day weapons are no longer needed to keep the peace, I'll start making bricks and beams for baby hospitals.
You rehearse that much?
Every night in front of the mirror before bedtime.
I can see that.
I'd like to show you firsthand.
You ever lose an hour's sleep your whole life?
I'm prepared to lose a few with you.
Yeah, no introduction. Moving on. So what does it mean to be masculine exactly? I mean, everything I just mentioned before is the typical American stereotype of a masculine male stoic hero. But what about Captain America? I mean, look at him. He started off as a 98-pound weakling and moved on to this 6-foot-tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed statue of a man. But it's weird that he started off as the same man, personality-wise, of course, and he went off to become this hero, but nobody liked him before he had that super serum punched into him. It seems to me that it takes, saving the country and killing all the damn Nazis to be a hero, well, at least by American film standards. But is that really what it takes to be a man? Well, according to this book by Katherine Phillips, She says that an abundant amount of men in this country suffer from a disease known as bigorexia, or muscle dysmorphia. Now, what that is, it puts men in crippling shame of how they look at themselves in the mirror because they aren't statuesque and muscular. However, if you ask any of the actors that work out and build for these roles, they aren't really proud of themselves. They're just doing it for their paycheck. But what about all the characters, the protagonists that aren't so hyper-masculine? You know, well, there's good examples of this. You look at Mike Myers, Seth Rogen, Steve Carell, etc., you know. But why are they in comedy roles? Why are they mostly in silly, funny roles? Well, I guess in America, if you're not the stoic, awesome, badass hero, you can't really be taken seriously. But before we get into the female stereotypes, I'd also like to discuss the gender representation in films. I mean, to be specific, gender representation in the films of 2012. Let's see. Here's some movies from 2012 and their gender-led roles. 21 Jump Street, 2 males. American Reunion, male. Argo, male. Battleship, male. Brave, female. Cabin in the Woods, male. Chernobyl Diaries, male. Chronicle, male. Clyde Atlas, male. Contraband, Dark Shadows, male, male. Taken 2, male. Tail, male. It's male. It's all males. You know what? They even say 18% of movies, only 18%, have had female roles. 18. That blows my mind. But now, let's move on to the ladies. Well, an article by Dr. Stacy Smith from the Annenberg School of Communication states that hypersexuality refers to an overemphasis on attractiveness and sexuality by the way of clothing, i.e. alluring attire, and body proportions, i.e. uncharacteristically small waist, hourglass figure, and thinness. Obviously, people are so concerned with their weight and body type, they're willing to go to weird extremes, like that whole trying to be like Barbie thing where they get the weird corset. It's just creepy. Our first gender stereotype for women would be sexualization. A perfect example of this, of course, has to be none other than Halle Berry from the Catwoman movie. Yeah, the leather, the whips, the chains. Looks like a porno waiting to happen, if you ask me. But I mean, look at her clothing, not just the leather and the sexiness, of course, but you notice that the claw marks, the lack of midsection, the cleavage, everything, it's there for a reason, and obviously it's not going to help her in a fight. And more on gender stereotypes when we come back.
Hey kids, have you ever wanted to play in water without getting wet? Introducing the all-new Aquajet running shoes. The shoes that let you run on water. Using the latest in hydrophobic technology, these shoes are guaranteed to keep you above the surface. You can walk, exercise, and even do a little dance. Call right now and get your first pair for only 8 easy payments of $29.99. Call today.
Warning, do not use these shoes if you do not know how to swim. If you fall into the water, turn the shoes off or you'll be stuck under the surface. These shoes have not been tested or approved by the UL. Please use the product at your own risk. If tumors develop on the body of your feet, please call a doctor. May cause cancer.
The Aquajet running shoes. America's leader in being better than everyone else.
Is there a problem, officer?
Wasn't there a guy in here?
Nope, it's just little old me.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. My mistake. Have a nice day.
And welcome back to the Sweet Report, where we were just going over female gender stereotypes in film. Now, the next stereotype that we're going to be covering is the stereotypical love interest. Now, when you think of the love interest, pretty much every movie has one. Anyone that has a male protagonist, anyway. But for all intents and purposes, let's just simple it down to Lois Lane from Superman. And if you know what I mean, every Superman has an underrepresented woman trying to make her way in a city just like Metropolis. Now, another gender stereotype for women in film would be they're fragile or they're dainty. Ooh, I mean, come on, really? It's just like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. She was such a wimp throughout the whole damn movie. I mean, even her dog was a damn wimp, for lack of a better term. Ugh. Anyway, I'm sorry, Dorothy, but your whole quest depended on your fabulous footwear. Now, of course, the classic damsel in distress has been something that's been around for decades. I mean, pretty much every Disney princess has been one at one point or another. But one example would be Jessica Biel from the movie Next. Roll a clip. Look, it's the new dance craze called Help Me, I'm a f***ing hostage. And our last gender stereotype is something that a lot of people don't notice, and they inadvertently put it in movies, whether they know it or not, would be the deceptive or sneaky female character in film. Typically, they're used in a lot of different types of movies, but a good example would be Black Widow from the Avengers.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
I don't give everything.
Look, you can't pull me out of this right now.
Natasha. Barton's been compromised.
Let me put you on hold.
What was the point of all that? I mean, yeah, she was being sneaky. She didn't have to be. I mean, she could have just kicked the shit out of him from the start. But, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. In an article by the Huffington Post, it said that, 26% of women are more likely to be sexualized than men. Even what's even more disturbing as in these numbers, that the sexualized age gap is from 12 to 20. 12! Are you f***ing kidding me? 12? I mean, that's disgusting. I don't want no prostitutes up in here. That's. Can you imagine the effect that this has on our adolescents and teenage youth and their families? Could this be the cause of, or even the part of the reason that the whole child beauty pageant things exist? Are we creating a future army of honey boo boos? This trend of over-sexualized females in film, it could be a result of the gender gap that exists in the movie industry. It pretty much, it says, from the Huffington Post again, says barely 4% of directors are female. Only 13.5% of writers are female, and only 2.2% of producers are female. 2.2. That's unheard of. These numbers haven't changed for years, and I don't know if they're going to, but despite the fact that 50% of the movie-going audience are female, you would think Hollywood would change it somehow. But can we really expect them to do better? Now, tonight we've covered a lot about gender stereotypes between men and women, but what about our transgender or homosexual characters in film? I mean, usually in film, They're depicted as either side characters or even mostly villains, surprisingly. David Bowie is the Goblin King in Labyrinth. Tim Curry in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Even Javier Bardem in Skyfall.
You see, we are the last two rats. We can either eat each other, or eat everyone else. How you're trying to remember your training now? What's the regulation to cover this? Well, first time for everything. Yes.
These are all excellent examples of transgender villains. I mean, don't forget silly old Chris Tucker as a side character to Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element.
Don't move.
Oh, he always makes me giggle. But it appears in American films that a gay character will either be shown as unimportant or even as an evil character. Well, according to an article by the New York Times, it says that these concerns have garnered the attention of protest groups that are focused on how homosexuals are depicted in movies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would say that this is a recent issue, but this article was published in 1992. I mean, my point to this is that you rarely, if ever, see a homosexual or a transgender hero in a movie. Why is this? Does Hollywood have something against homosexual or transgender heroes? I don't know. But what I can tell you is that they're scarce. They're not around very often, if at all. I can't personally name a movie that does have one. But we've seen these stereotypes for so many years, and we ask people, and it seems they've grown numb to them. It seems like they don't really care. I mean, some people do, but it's time to take a hard look at the truth. And we can ask our film industry to maybe be a little bit more progressive and get with the times. Well, thank you for watching, America. You have a wonderful day, and have a sweet evening.
I'm calling it the end.